Howdy.
Yeah, be Chad. What's up?
Nothing.
Um, did you get any um like we were talking before with that email you got or whatever? Anybody send any questions?
Not to me. Looks like you got some though.
I got three of them. Two of them are kind of joke questions. One of them's like a legit question. Just trying to figure out ways to make this thing at least an hour because it's actually not a terrible show.
No, but there's a lot of recapping.
And there's not a lot of meat on the bones. Um, when Worlds Collide was on the network, though,
I did see that. Yeah.
so we can do that idea you were talking about, where we
When we review that one, we can do it live.
do it live.
Do it like Bill O'Reilly. Yeah.
Do it live.
Be like Bill O'Reilly. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Howdy, Chad.
What's up, guys? Oh, shit. Oh, good night.
I see it fell down and it went blank. I was like, well, this show is in memory of Chad Austin. Might actually be. He's
I love it.
All right.
all right. He's been reincarnated.
I just tried to put my little phone on the little stand.
We were ready to dedicate the show to your memory.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, Chad died.
Right before the show. I couldn't even take one for the team on the show.
before we went on the air.
Jesus. I mean, I'm sure it sounded like a catastrophe on your end because it's on this like little plastic like tripod thing, and they like stumbled over on top of Jess's ashtray on the little table we have outside. So it made all kinds of a calamity.
It made all kind of noise, and then it just went black.
Like, you're gonna have to have like a 10 beer crack salute to you.
Did you get all that rain?
No, we got a little bit last night.
Okay. Well, I know they were saying that like Jersey and stuff was getting. I didn't know if it went as far south as you or not. That they were getting floods and.
Well, we got some of it.
Yeah,
like we got that downpour of 2 or 3 days was because of that fucking plume or whatever they're calling it.
Mm-hmm. And now it's just cold as shit.
Dude, where we live on the outskirts of Baltimore City, we live on the upper part of an incline of a hill. It's not a big hill, but it's just like an incline. So if it were ever to flood, it would never make it this far. You know what I mean? It would just never make it this far. It's like 4 blocks for it to come up this far, and we don't have a basement. So we ain't flooding that thing out.
Right. Well, that's good. And I'm glad you got your car back. Or did you take it to the mechanic or did you get it back? Oh, no.
Well, I mean, we need to get an hour out of this fucking show.
I'm recording everything like told.
Oh, yeah. I just got off work today. The car started up every single time I started it today, and I kept putting it in drive, and I pulled up a parking spot and put it in reverse, backed up a parking spot, and I'm like, I feel like I can drive this bitch to the liquor store. And it's only like 2 blocks. I bet you I can pull this off. And Jess was like, don't. Don't. If it's only 2 blocks, just go walk. Walk the 2 blocks. And I'm thinking, that's what I have a car for. So I ended up walking. dude, I couldn't believe the way home how blown up I was just carrying an 18-pack. But when I got to the house, I literally bent over my railing on the porch because I was so winded.
I picture you bending over the porch and then cracking a beer as you come back up. Like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much was that's pretty much how it was. But like, I got here and I'm like, if I can only just make it into the house, and I'm just thinking, no, I gotta rest right here in this spot right here. I gotta catch my wind, and I'm thinking, thank God my phone don't ring no more, and nobody wants to book me for any damn shows.
Now you know how Sandman felt when they made him work more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I bet you he was in better shape than I am now. This is embarrassing. I can't even walk to the liquor store. Like carrying the 18-pack. An 18-pack was like my my regimen today. Like going to the gym. So my right hand's looking pretty good. that 2 blocks swinging that 18-pack around. Hell, I tell you.
So, Aaron, do you want to start? Do we want to do the show and then you do whatever questions you got after, or do you want to do it the other way?
I don't give a fuck. Whatever you guys want to do.
I don't know, man. There ain't much of a show.
Yeah, not too much. Not too good.
I only got 3 questions out of these fucking ham bones. I don't contribute for nothing.
So I think I've already picked my ham bones of the week.
The listeners.
You're all fucking ham bones, all 6 of you.
I just did a podcast yesterday for the company that I used to work for here in Baltimore, Maryland Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me to come in and sit in, and we just kind of like. I mean, I thought we were going to talk more about like some other stuff, but I have a personal history with the owner. Like I kind of trained him and broke in like a year and a half before him. So you know what I mean. So he was coming in while I was still at the school, but I was kind of training. And yeah, he runs MCW here in Baltimore. I don't know if you know it, Maryland Championship Wrestling, but. Yeah. They get a lot of big names, and they do a podcast, and I don't even know why they asked me. I'm thinking like, all right, whatever. You guys know what you're getting. You know what I mean? I don't know what you can't say or whatever the hell, but all I know is that they didn't call me like Shane Douglas called Road Warrior. I don't know what the hell he called him.
No, do they do their podcast about their promotion, or do they talk about different topics, or
shit? I don't even know what we talked about yesterday. I think it was about basically, I think yesterday, because it was me, it was about more like of my career there or my career.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Danny, the owner, was everywhere that I was. I got him in ECW, and even though he did jobs there, he was still in ECW. He got me on Springer the first time, but after that, I got myself back on every time. So we kind of like always been kind of partners in crime, sort of like I know what he can do, he knew what I could do.
Right. All right. Well, I guess.
But yeah, I really don't remember what the hell we talked about. I took my notebook, but I didn't have anything written down because they didn't give me a heads up prior. But I'll be sure to give you guys a heads up when it comes out because I really had a good time, and it was really, really professional. I mean, it was at a recording studio they had the foam things on the wall and everything.
Well, we'll once it's up, we'll post it in the group and stuff too.
Like this mud show.
Whatever. But this is still more fun than that one would be.
But it's our mud show.
I had to get the lovely Miss Jess to take me there. because of Black Lesnar being broken down.
So
That's
you want the
enough of this
questions?
car, dude. That's enough of this. This is it for that car.
Last chance.
I don't know what else I could fix on it. Like
Black Lesnar is actually like Brock Lesnar, and it only works when it wants to.
Yes, it works a couple times a year, dude. I don't know what it is with this motherfucker. I mean, I put every nickel and dime, like little small thing you can possibly put in a car on this car, yet it keeps finding fault to break down on me. Like when I lift the hood up, it looks like I'm just taking it off the showroom floor. Like all the parts in the car is shiny and new, and I'm like, why won't this bitch run? What the fuck is the matter with this goddamn thing? And then it really sucks when your buddy comes over and he's a Honda mechanic, and he pops the hood and he gives you that look like, I don't know what's wrong with it. That's not even confidence.
Yes, even the expert doesn't know. Yeah.
That's not. That doesn't sound like I'm going to work tomorrow. Like, because I'm confident it's going to make it there. You know what I mean? He doesn't have one of them little handheld computer gimmicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That they hook you up to your car and they can run the diagnostics. But yeah, he really didn't see anything wrong with it. So I don't know. I'm just like, this is it. I already took it down to the shop tonight. It made it down there. I don't know. Miss Jess followed me there, so hopefully this guy is like, dude, he's handled my car. So he's had my car almost as long as I have.
Time spent, yeah.
He's had it as long as it worked, or didn't work as long as I have. Because I've had it towed up there, and it's sat there for 4 or 5 days because I told him don't bother. It's I'm not working. I don't need it fixed, so don't bother. And it's sat up there for weeks, like during COVID and shit. So he's very familiar with that car. Good night, man. But dude, I love my car. I have a Honda Element. You know what they are?
Yeah.
I love them. This is my second one. The first one got stolen by a one-legged Peruvian homeless guy.
Yeah. Best storyline ever.
I don't think it was that great. And I don't think the insurance company thought it was that great. How do you tell them that you're looking for a one-legged Peruvian homeless guy? And you can't find him.
Yeah, you don't have an address.
Yeah, he does. It's the fucking back of that. It's the back of 596-6463F. Right there.
Check the alley. Check the alley of the IHOP. Yeah, one leg.
All right, let's fire this mother.
Are we doing the questions or the show?
We'll start with the questions. That'll work.
All right. Like I said, there were 2 jabroni questions and then like an actual real question.
Legit question. Okay.
Yeah. Dave Dynasty.
Hold on. Let me start the show.
Oh, I thought we already did.
No.
It's right.
I can use the rest of it as
15 fucking minutes.
I know.
Yeah, we're 14 minutes in and what the hell?
I guess that was reliving the extreme dark.
Yes, it is. This week on Reliving the Extreme, we are discussing the episode of ECW from April the 19th, 1994. Nate Maxson here along with my brother Aaron.
Hello.
And Senior Chad Austin.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going?
It is fantastic.
Oh, great, man. We're just starting talking. It feels like we've been talking for 15 minutes already.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, I think the ham bone of the week just suddenly kind of popped into my head after reviewing my notes here and over the course of the last few minutes.
Scratching off Maddie, scratching off JT Smith.
The ham bone options are just flying through the roof here.
Like I said, this week, April 19th, 1994 is our episode of ECW. Also, congratulations to Aaron and Chad as we are headed up the charts again, up to 122 on the Apple Podcast Wrestling category. So congratulations, guys.
Is there more to this category than what you're saying? I mean, are you just being nice by saying the Apple Podcast Wrestling charts, or is it Apple Podcast Wrestling charts with about ECW?
No, it's not.
With only guys named Chad, Aaron, and Nate.
Yes. Are you sure you're not making this sound way better than it is?
Like Aaron said, thank you all 6 of you that listen to the show. We appreciate you downloading it over and over again to get those numbers up.
Archie Mitchell's got 6 different accounts. There you go. Got to get that in.
We got to have Archie on the show soon. We need that money. We need that Archie Mitchell money.
He actually asked the question. He's one of
Shocker.
the questions.
Aaron asked on our Facebook group, which if you're not a member of it, join it. It's easy to find. Reliving the Extreme on Facebook. Join the group. Aaron asked any of our listeners if they had any questions for Chad or the show in general. And what you got there, brother? He asked earlier today.
Well, I figured I had to ask something to try to extend this shit. Dave Dynasty asked, who made Shane Douglas's jacket? Like we would know that.
I don't know who made Shane Douglas's jacket.
Which jacket?
I think he's talking about the one that has like the sleeves where they're like strips or whatever.
Oh, good night.
Yeah, who fucking
Yeah, I if I would have had to guess, it would probably either be I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but I think I know who it would be. I think her name was Lily. I think her name was Lily Singh. And maybe that's what her name was. Or she that girl that hosted that late night show. I don't know. I think her name was Lily Singh. But I know she made a lot of extra stuff for the boys.
Okay.
Like she did a lot of custom work. And she didn't deal with the generic what are the tights made out of? Like nylon, sort of,
Yeah, spandex.
Well, no, the old school tights were made out of like a nylon, it sucked. It was a very terrible material. It was durable, but it was rough. It was rough. And then it wasn't until like the late 80s that people started wearing like the spandex outfits, and that became just all the norm. But yeah, that was whoever made Shane's jacket, it could have been what was her name? Vivian Walker?
Mm-hmm.
Two's wife?
Olivia Walker.
Olivia, yeah. Could it have been her, you think?
Possibly. She made all the Flair's robes and shit.
I mean, it wasn't like it was that great of a jacket. I don't know why he cares. Whatever.
So,
yeah, what do you care?
My dogs are mad.
What's a dog want to know?
You want to know who made your stuff?
Lillian Singh or whatever her name was.
Okay.
Actually, she did when she made my outfit. She did like sew a little name tag on the inside with her name on it. So that's how I even remembered that it was something Singh. I mean, it's because I saw it so long, every time I put them on.
Right.
And I picked out the material, and I picked out my Caribbean print. I love that. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen. Yeah, you guys have seen me wearing it before. Have you ever seen any of my independent work? My Caribbean print. It was classic.
What's the next question you got there, Aaron?
The next question is from Archie Mitchell, and I'm interested to see what Chad says. His question is, why am I never not on the show?
I don't know. Your name's mentioned every single one of them.
Yeah,
so you kind of are on the show.
Yeah, you get your plugs, Archie. What are you worried about? Damn it!
I know. I mean, what? So we're supposed to get all 6 of you guys on?
He's sitting there with his brandy and his cigar.
Is that what you want? We only record one show a week, and we have 6 listeners. So, all right, we'll just do one fan each a week if you want. Eventually, you'll be on. Hell, I don't know, Archie. Why haven't I been on it with the Arches cooking?
Ah, touche.
Oh yeah, yeah. Slam it back at him. See what he says on that.
Yeah, believe me, I think I know why. For some reason, my phone wouldn't probably work that day. The battery was dead on my phone. I'm sorry, I missed your call.
Your phone was stuck in traffic.
Oh, yes, it was. I smelt what the Arch is cooking.
What did it smell like?
Well, you do know that I do live around the ship plant here in Dundalk. It's literally, you can every day at a certain time is when they release the fucking smoke, and then it smells like shit for like 2 hours here every day.
Well, that's how Van Wert is. There's a shit plant in Van Wert, and about middle of the afternoon, the entire
the entire town smells like a turd. Yes.
Yeah, it's like for like an hour you think you're in Kuwait. Hey, what does this smell
is that
like?
what this world? Is that what this world is coming to? All they're building is ship plants now. Like, like it seems like they're popping up everywhere. I mean, where are they getting all this shit?
It's probably Archie Mitchell.
Well, I mean, good Lord, Archie. I think Archie Miller's time has lasted on this show a little bit too long. Let's move on.
You're done for the week, Archie. You're done.
We've already smelt what Archie Miller is cooking.
All right, last question, and this is the legit question. Brian Davis messaged me and wanted me to ask Chad who his stiffest opponent in ECW was.
Oh, good Lord! All right, can I give him the short list of who wasn't?
You want to
Hack
answer?
Hack Myers wasn't. Man, Sabu was not, or Ben, like Benoit was stiff in a different way. Like he wasn't stiff in a reckless, like trying to hurt me way. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just stiff because that's just the style that he worked. Sabu was more of a careless, reckless, because he could never pull off them dives 100% at a time. And, he didn't have any control on where he landed. And I tell you, who would have been my stiffest opponent in ECW had the lights not won out, and that probably would have been Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, I've got something about him about being stiff on this show, actually.
Yeah, dude. Like that time I found out I was working with him, and I got out to that ring, and I was just thinking, like, this guy's just going to charge the ring and just start murdering me. And then the lights went out. I was just like, oh my God, this is like a godsend here. And then it happened again. So literally, they did not want me to work with Kevin Sullivan, and quite honestly, neither did I.
You had a wrestling guardian angel there.
But all in all, I mean, everybody. Okay, well, you know what? Honestly, I guess the greatest answer would be the Sandman, because he's the one that really fucked me up. Like New Jack thought that he hurt me, and he swore, "Oh man, what I did to that Chad Austin, like he didn't do shit to me." I left that show Saturday night and I started working in Memphis on Tuesday. I broke his leg. Whose leg did you break? But he thought he was brutal. But yeah, probably Sandman overall because he was kind of a careless, you know.
Was he? What do you think hit? Oh, sorry,
he
Chad.
beat me up. No, he just beat me up.
So was he more malicious about it, like just being a dick, or yeah?
I mean, you could hear it when he does his shoot when he did his shoot promos, and my name got brought up. I have no idea where this guy got any of this stuff from. Whatever he's kind of mad at or whatever he thought I was up to or anything. Like none of that was true. Not a single lick of it was true. and I'm just thinking, like, how did my name get tagged into any of this? I am not a talent scout for like Smoky Mountain or whatever. I don't even know what company I was supposed to be associated with. But I was accused of being like a talent scout for somebody. I'm like, well, who says that? Why? Who said this? I can't even get work. How am I going to get you work?
I'll spit out my fucking beer.
That's the title of the show. That's the title of the show. I can't even get work. How am I going to get you work?
It's just amazing of how New Jack, because he had the louder voice, his story became like the story that everybody really heard, But anybody that was there, like Meanie, I don't even think Meanie knows what happened because he was tossed out as soon as the bell rang. So me and Meanie were never together at all during that match. So it's not like he was sitting over there watching me get murdered or anything. Why Mustafa's sitting there making dumb facial gestures and kicking him like and choking him in the corner and stuff. So yeah, it was just a crazy scene.
Was that the only other question you had, Aaron? Sorry.
Those are the three questions that got sent.
All right. We will attempt it again as time goes on. Anybody that ever has any questions for Chad about his time in ECW or any time in his career, frankly, you can always send those to one of us on Facebook, or you can also email relivingtheextreme@gmail.com.
Or if you want to know what either one of these guys' favorite sandwiches are.
Ham.
I'm retiring.
Bone-in ham.
On a sandwich? The bone and all?
Yeah.
All right, let's start this TV show then. ECW, April the 19th, 1994. We're headed toward When Worlds Collide now. That's where we're headed. But they're acting like this show is live on tape from the event on April the 16th at the ECW Arena. We start the show with a promo from Shane Douglas and Sensational Sherry. Douglas essentially says he's sending Sherry on vacation here, which I'm assuming means Sherry's leaving the promotion.
Yeah, she's
WCW.
WCW bound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's about to be with Flair, I believe, in WCW.
Which she probably was a couple of times in her life.
Shane brings up Terry Funk in this promo because the Funker is back, and we're going to start heating that back up again. And then he talks about, obviously, he's facing Hawk at this event on the 16th.
Yeah, say it right.
Sorry, Hawk. And then Joey Styles. Well, anything on this promo, guys? Sorry, I don't want to move on too fast there.
No, man. I mean, Sherry, was great as usual. Shane is, is really starting to hit a stride that's at a different level, than a lot of the other talent that's there. He's really grasping what his role there is, and he's off and just running. And I don't know about I mean,
well, it's like we've mentioned on the show before.
He just doesn't, like, there's something about seeing him without Animal that just doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean?
Doesn't work.
Even if you put him a Power Warrior, with Sasaki, like, at least I can kind of get behind that. But when he's by himself, he just kind of looks like an indie guy, like a glorified indie guy at that, but still an indie guy.
Yeah. Well, like we've said on the show before with Shane, he's taking the CCW thing and trying to prove a point, through his time through the WWF and WCW, and nobody ever thinking that he could reach that potential or whatever. That's why I think he's, like you said, Chad, he's hitting that stride. Is I think he's trying really, really, really. He's the hardest working guy in this promotion because he's trying really hard to prove something.
Right. He's got a lot of responsibility.
And they did a good job. Both of them did a good job of Shane, like, trying to politely put forth the fact that, okay, Sherry, you've extended your usefulness to me as a character. Like, he's like, oh, how many people did you lead to gold? And now that he's got his gold, he's like, I don't need you anymore. So go ahead and go on this vacation, and her being like, what? You're not going with me? It's like, I think that was the underlining story they were trying to tell in the promo. And I actually think they did a good job with it. I enjoyed it.
Well, does that happen in the end? Because I don't remember.
I think she's just kind of. I think she's just kind of gone after this. Yeah, because she's in WCW by May.
So you would say that she probably left around the same time as Sullivan, then, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that would be. Let me see. We're in April, so yeah, we're probably talking summer of '94. You think that's when they kind of started?
Yeah, they wound up there about the same time. Well, probably the same time, like when Hogan got into WCW, because she was at that Clash where they had the Sting, Ric Flair title unification, and they didn't know which side Sherry was going to be on, and she wound up being with Flair, and so she took the big money and left. And Sully went there and booked.
On this show,
Shane Mitchell money.
And then they show us a video recapping the history with Shane Douglas and Sherry, and how Sherry has helped Shane either gain or retain the championship so far. And it's funny because dude,
didn't it look like she worked the matches for him?
Yes, I was about to say that. Like,
when you see her like diving off the top rope in an evening gown, like with no shit, you know what I'm saying? Like out to the floor and stuff. And I'm like, is she the one to work in? And Shane seconding
that's what I'm getting at. That's what they were telling. That's the story they were telling. Like, Shane Douglas would have not got to the point that he was at if he wouldn't have had Sherry with him. And then he finally got there, and then he was just like, all right, Sherry, go to the Bahamas. I don't need you anymore. And she's like, what? Like, it was a really cool story they told with like the promo and the video and everything like this. This is actually one of the better things they've done so far, of just encapsulating a fucking story that they didn't tell it great going through it, but then you see, okay, well,
you see it as a complete
Paulie at least, like, Paulie knew what he was doing.
I gotta be honest, dude. You're a more in depth listen or watcher than I am. I didn't get any of that. I just thought none of it made sense. I'm just like, all right, well, Sherry's leaving. I didn't even think about the whole I don't need you anymore storyline. So yeah, that's pretty clever of you, because I didn't even think about that. I saw it for what it was, because I was there,
Mhm.
and I didn't know what the, end of the day was. I just knew that Sherry was leaving, because it was only a couple months after this that I went to WCW and Sherry was there.
Mhm.
Oh boy, was that a story. That broad, man, she could drink and drive. I don't know about anymore, but she could drink and drive, man.
I've never heard anybody say anything negative about her as far as be just being a great lady. Great to fun to be around. I never met her in person. Never met her in person, but
I mean, I probably said it on this show a bazillion times. She is the absolute best. I mean, like, one of my, probably, if she's not my favorite person, she's in my top 3 of people. Because she doesn't forget you. She remembers everybody, and she's just so kind hearted, and like, and genuine. That was the best part. She was one of the boys.
She gives one of the
Great.
she gives one of the best. Gives one of the best WWE Hall of Fame acceptance speeches ever. Her acceptance speech is fantastic. When she's talking shit about Eric Bischoff, and then he's out in the crowd. She goes, "Oh damn, I thought you were gone."
Yeah, I think that was going. I mean, I don't know what. Good Lord, I don't know how to say this. I don't know where Sherry was in her life, but was this getting towards the end?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So
And she
that
seemed. I
makes
mean,
about right.
she seemed really happy. She seemed like she was content in life.
Well,
But
I mean, I think it was. I think it was because of that, like, ladder accident, whatever that she had, that screwed her up. Like, because then she got on them goddamn marijuana pills. The prescription shit, and that's what fucked her up. But before that, dude, I mean, she would just smoke dope.
the next match on the show has one of the most awkward wrestlers I've ever seen in my life.
No way. Taz?
No, not Taz. This RJ Powers cat. It's Kevin Sullivan and Taz against Jimmy Snuka and RJ Powers, or is it RT Powers? I don't know what I wrote down here, but RJ Powers. They say he's the newest acquisition from Hunter Q Robbins, who's just won't go away. But this guy, he's just, I don't know, he's awkward as fuck. Like he poses awkwardly, he wrestles awkwardly. I'm sure he was green. I don't know. Do you know any story on this dude, Chad? Where he came from, where he went?
I ain't never heard of this guy. And you know who he reminded me of, but it was even worse than him. He reminded me of Firebreaker Chip. But worse.
He's the black Firebreaker Chip.
And I'm watching it, and I'm just going, how could there be anybody worse than Firebreaker Chip? Like, I mean, I can't compare him to Corporal Kirshner. He's not that bad. But
I didn't even think of it. And I hate Firebreaker Chip. So I applaud you, sir, for making that comparison. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's that awful. He has that classic. Oh my God, I've dealt with it a bazillion times at wrestling schools with guys that are that big, and they're not very agile. They're not very mobile. So, like, when you're trying to teach them how to throw forearms, they always do that. I mean, I'm sure you guys do it too when you mess around with each other. When you throw a forearm and you stomp your foot real big, like right when you do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way it's done. That's the way you've been led to believe for decades that it's done. But no, there's a way to do it. It's just that bad workers do it with the big foot stomp. It just kills me when I see bad indie people, and I'm just thinking, like, who trained these people?
This guy, like, I mean, he gets into position for moves, and then he's in the wrong spot, and then he's like, I don't know, he was just very awkward. Seemed like he was 3 steps behind everybody else.
Well, I was watching Hunter Q, watching him at ringside, and he was like gaga over everything that RJ Powers did. So the only thing I figured was this guy must have been Hunter Q's power top, and that's why he got booked.
Oh, good Lord. I don't know. I don't know about that. I just thought that he was so big that it made him so stiff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he couldn't do anything. That's why I compared him to Firebreaker Chip, but he just couldn't do anything. But yeah, I was watching it, just going, and the way Jason started putting him over, and I'm going, I've never heard of this guy. What was his name? RJ Jackson? What is it?
RJ Powers.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, and I'm just like, he clearly never came back, right? I mean, if I've never heard of him there.
If Taz and Kevin Sullivan beat the ever loving fuck out of me like they did out of this guy, I probably wouldn't come back either. Because Sullivan just wears him. I mean, and Snuka just stands there. Like Snuka's like, I'm fuck you. He just stands on the apron while this guy is getting annihilated by Kevin Sullivan and Taz with crutches and chairs and hammers and tables.
Yeah. I got
take any of that shit?
No, Snuka's just
Sullivan. I got Sullivan kills Powers, and then the next slash. Why is Snuka here? Because he obviously does not want to get. He's not getting involved in any of this.
No, he does a little spot. He does a little deal with Sullivan in the middle of the match, where they do a few spots, and then he tags back out and lets RJ Powers get his ass handed to him again for 5 minutes. It's actually kind of funny.
All right. Well, theoretically speaking, how does this work? Whoever the Sullivan and Taz, they signed the contract, open contract. Okay. Jimmy Snuka says, I want to be a part of this, and I want to get a shot at the title. And I want to sign this open contract. And then does Ron Powers just walk in and sign it?
Hunter Q says, I want my boyfriend to team with you, Jimmy.
Yes. Yeah. Like, how does that work? Doesn't Snuka have a say? Like, I don't want to team with RJ Wilson.
I love all the names he's had.
I mean, who is this guy?
Snuka has no idea. He couldn't read.
Yeah, and it looked like he didn't want to be there anyway, too. I see Snuka is not a tag team guy, dude. He looks so bad when he's in tag matches because he doesn't know how to come into the ring with a house of fire.
Mm-mm.
He comes in with a house of nothing.
Yeah, because he's like Frankenstein's monster coming in the ring.
Like, just imagine if whoever his partner is like getting the heat and he's crawling over and he's reaching out for the hot tag, and Snuka's standing on the apron and he reaches out and he dives and he hits Snuka's hand, and Snuka walks in, gets in the ring, and adjusts his knee pads. and then he pulls his tights up, and then he licks his fingers. And then he circles around and tags out. The place is like you know, when you hear like like when you hear a cornet describe a match, and he's like, and the place is gonna blow, and this and that. Like, no, they're not. Snooker's coming in. He's pulling up his knee pads. He's licking his fingers. He's checking the wrist on his tape, or his tape on his wrist.
He's looking at the cameraman with the big eyes.
Yeah, or he's doing the Superfly "I love you" sign. Oh, give me a break.
And he goes, who, and then he tags out.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the spot. Who? Like he's going over the match with his partner backstage, and he's like, "All right, you get in there, brother. You take the heat. You tag me. I come in. I fire up, and then I tag back you in. You go home." But notice he didn't like say like what he was gonna do.
No,
I'll fire up. I'll come in. I'll put them knee pads right in the right spot.
I'll do all my signature spots, brother.
I'll give you the rub tonight. I'll give you the rub tonight, Firebreaker Chip. I give you the rub, brother. TCB.
You know who gave RJ Powers the rub that night? Hunter Q. Robbins.
Oh boy. RJ Powers.
Well, to end this,
and then RJ Powers gave Hunter Q his Firebreaker tip.
Oh, I don't know. Did you see it? Did you see that stomp that Taz missed?
Yes. Well, they were trying to do a thing. It seemed like in this where he was trying to do Kevin Sullivan's moves, but screwing them up because he tried the Tree of Woe, and Sullivan begged him off of that and told him not to do it. And then he tried the stomp and missed it. So I think it was on purpose.
Oh, okay. Is that all right? I makes sense. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, I still don't understand the fucking weird economy between Taz and Kevin Sullivan, like with the cover in his eyes and mocking him and shit. I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
Well, it's almost over. So
thank God.
Well, this debacle ends when Taz hits Powers with I believe a suplex, and then pins him. And then Woman beats up Hunter Q. Robbins and strips him of his clothes, which no one wanted to see, but it happened anyway.
Yeah, but Hunter Q got the free treatment for what most dudes have spent $150 for.
Yeah, ain't bad.
Yeah. I'd let a woman smack me around. Especially in that outfit she had on. Jesus Christ. She looked great.
As always.
Dude, I've seen Nancy. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. 8:00 in the morning down at the lobby of the Marriott, Philadelphia. You know, where a lot of the guys would meet up for the breakfast, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she would be made up and would look like she was going out to the ring like then. Which and she was like stellar. I mean, if you look closely, you could see maybe she's not as great if you really get close to her. But damn, from a distance, holy mackerel. She's a looker, man.
Yeah, oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Great voice, too. That was the other thing. Great voice.
Yeah.
Not to be a pervert.
And she's smart to the business. She knows the business.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not like, you don't have to like explain stuff to her, you know? It's not like you have to like say like, oh, well, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. She would already know it.
Yeah. And that comes from spending probably as much time as she did with Kevin, because say what you want or you don't want to say about Kevin Sullivan. He knows about psychology. You know, he knows about how to work the crowd. He's one of the better psychology guys, I think, personally, of all time.
I think when it comes to putting matches together, you mean?
Yeah.
Or booking?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, his matches aren't like that great.
Right.
I mean,
but
he's not
playing a character. No, but he owned his character, you know, over the years and the psychology of his character and all that. So I give him credit for that.
It's kind of like the how do they say it? It's like sports, like the great players or the not so great players coach. If that makes sense. Like, oh, I might not be the best football player in the world, but I understand how football works, and I can teach you how to do it. You know,
Right.
I mean, I can relate to that when it comes to the wrestling school that we have here. I was never a hired trainer, but I would go to the school on like Tuesdays just to work out, right? Just for
Right.
me to work out. And the next thing I know, I would be getting in the ring with guys that had only been training for a couple of weeks. And I would lead them through a match, like in the ring. But that afterwards, some guys have even told me that was the best match of their career that they had because it was at the school and it was against me. And because I just let them through, a halfway decent match. I didn't let them do something they couldn't do. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? If you're what's that guy's name? I can't think of his name now. Pat. His name's Pat Brink, but he was in WWE, but I don't think he ever debuted. And he's been with a couple other companies, but like I was his first match, and he got pretty much hired off of that match because they didn't even know that he never had another match. They only saw that match, and I'm just going like that was his first match, and I'm the one that let him through it. You know what I mean? Why aren't you guys beating down my door?
like not to get off the rails, it's like the opposite of like what I was saying about Sullivan. Like Cornette talked about Bobby Eaton. Like Bobby Eaton can hit, like he said, Bobby could hit the perfect leg drop, and then when somebody would be like, "Oh, teach me how to do that, Bobby," Bobby couldn't teach him how to do it. You know what I mean?
Did you know what Bobby
Bobby's thing was just like, I know how to do it, but I don't know how to teach somebody how to do it.
Yeah, and I'm very, very, very similar in that aspect where I like when it comes to punching, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was Gilbert that told me how to punch. He told me to stand in front of a brick wall and punch the brick wall. And punch the brick wall until you don't hurt your hand no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way you'll know how to get close enough. And then when I started studying Lawler's punches
are fantastic.
I adopted them almost immediately. I said, all right, this is the way you're going to punch. Like he throws a punch, but he also pushes your chin away when the punch is supposed to land. You know, like it's kind of like I'm swinging my ass off on you, but as I punch you, I'm pushing your head away. You know, but Dundee would just take him. That's the thing about Dundee. I mean, he would just sit there and they would just pound on each other. And if you watch Dundee's punches on Lawler, he would punch him with his palm. Like he wouldn't throw like fists. He would throw like palm, like not palm strikes, but he would throw his fist like he was throwing his fist at you, not a fist like you know what I mean?
Not the knuckles, but the bottom, like the yeah.
I'm not sure what's worse.
The next deal on this show, Paulie joins Joey Styles in the Eagle's Nest, and of course he puts over Sabu and how Sabu is going to be returning to ECW on this evening. They show the footage of 911 and Crash. Didn't look like they actually had a match. I don't know if there was match before the spot. They just show Paulie hit Crash in the back of the head with his phone into a choke slam from 911. Were you at this show, Chad?
Was it Valley Forge?
No, this one's just
Oh,
ECW
no.
Arena.
No, I wasn't. They brought the wing guys in for one of them, what we used to call a triple shot weekend of love.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Paul would run like not I'm gonna use that as an example. He would run Valley Forge Friday. He'd run Philadelphia Saturday, and he'd book some, Balt show on Sunday.
Right.
And Crash was brought in as a favor to Victor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he liked him. Plus, he was a Jersey guy, or at least a New York guy,
Yeah, from the area. Yeah, the tri-states.
Yeah, because I remember when he brought him in. One of the first times they brought him in, we were at a spot show, and he was sitting in the bleachers, and I walked out, and I was one of the only guys in the whole entire locker room to even know who he was. Like, I walked up to him, and me and him sat in the bleachers, and I literally was just talking to him about like Wing and all them goofy ass Matt, you know what I mean? All that stuff that he did over there. And then he was just like, "How do you know about this?" And then I'm like, "Well, I'm a tape collector." You know what I mean? I get all these shows and stuff, and then he kind of wanted to start talking to me more.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no chance I was going to make a best of Bill DeMont, and that wasn't happening. I didn't want to upset him by sending him an 8-minute tape.
We're friends. I can't do that to you, Billy.
Yeah, I normally would tell somebody like that, like a guy in the business who knew that I collected tapes, that if they wanted something from them, just if you buy me the tape, and I'm not going to guarantee when it's going to be, but I watch so much wrestling on tape. When I come across something of yours, I'll put it on a tape.
Right.
But I didn't want to hand them, like I said, an 8-minute tape.
Then we show the end of the Pitbull versus JT Smith match. Pitbull won the TV title in this match. Apparently, they show footage that JT was attacked by the Public Enemy before the match got started. Pitbull worked the knee and won the TV title. Anything on this one, guys? Anything to report there?
I don't know. I think you skipped ahead or whatever. I think you skipped ahead on me here. I don't know where I'm at. I still have. Was there a bad bump that Snooker took?
Probably.
Remember the bump? Remember that bump he took on the ropes? Like he took like some kind of like punch to the gut or something, and then he like bounced off the ropes.
Was that when Sullivan pretended to hit him with the spike, and it looked very ineffective?
Oh, I didn't even know Sullivan hit him with the spike.
Yeah, they tried to make it look like he hit him with the spike, but I don't think Snuka even actually took the spike. Honestly,
it was probably a frozen.
I don't know. I just got I just got a recap of 911 and Crash, and we already just discovered that. And, recap of Pitbull winning the TV title. Not much on that. That's pretty much what I just have. The recap of Pitbull winning the TV title.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Then right after that became a big, oh my God, Maddie with Paul.
Yeah.
Like they just, I don't know what they're doing with this guy, man.
I don't know why he's still around. I mean, he obviously has connections. Did you say he has connections to Paulie or to Matt Radico, maybe?
Yeah, he has connections to Paulie because he was a nightclub promoter in New York City, like Paulie was.
Mm-hmm.
So they would like, I'm assuming they just cross paths through, the nightclubs,
right?
But he had no wrestling ties,
and that's obvious. But he does an interview here with the Public Enemy, and I was hoping I was hoping that Aaron had plenty to say on this, because when I was watching this segment, I was like, Maddie and Public Enemy. I'm sure Aaron's going to deliver here.
Oh, my only thought was, Jesus Christ, why is this happening? Like somebody hates me somewhere. There's no way Maddie had $50 in his wallet.
I just can't believe that Public Enemy got over. I mean, granted, they got over in ECW, but watching this stuff, you still got to be like, how the fuck did they get over?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
they just look so lame, and no offense, it's just the verbiage. They look so gay.
Mm-hmm.
They were like they're dressed in like matching fucking outfits and they're like grown men. Oh, Johnny! It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous on the surface. Maybe it wasn't so bad at the time when you're watching it because you want to get invested in it and you want to believe. But then again, at the same time, look at how ridiculous it just looks. These two guys.
And it's like we said last week, they do have their shining moments. Like Aaron said, the rivalry with the Bruise Brothers and the Public Enemy against each other has been effective and stuff, but their promos are half goofy. Like you said, Chad, they look goofy. They're just goofy, you know? And I don't know if I'm supposed to take them seriously, if they're supposed to be comedy. It's just a very schizophrenic gimmick, I guess.
Well, you got to take them seriously when they're after they do the goofy stuff, and then Rocco goes, and let me tell you something. Like, after the Johnny, then at the end of the promo he gets serious.
Yeah, flip the switch. Yeah. So I was kind of confused by this next deal. So we're talking about the Human Cage match, which was the match between the Bruise Brothers and Public Enemy. And then I guess from what I gather from the footage they showed, Mr. Hughes came in. He was part of the Human Cage, but then he came in and started.
He broke the Human Cage.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I was kind of lost.
Smoked the Human Cage? What did he smoke? What'd you say?
He broke the Human Cage.
Oh, he broke it. Oh.
Yeah, like the Human Cage was super ineffective.
As we could tell from last week's show, or whenever 2 weeks ago, when we watched Hawk beat up the whole Human Cage, or Shane Douglas beat up the whole Human Cage. So we knew this was going to happen.
Beat up the whole Human Cage, and he did it again.
Well, I mean, Christ, when the Human Cage consists of Donnie Allen, the Wolfman, me, Billy Firewolf, like, what are you gonna do? Not beat him up? I mean, I'm sure Hawk's he's not gonna invite us all into the ring or whatever to celebrate with us. You know, we're all gonna stand there and like do the curtain call.
Like a bunch of butter muscles.
We got the butter muscles beat off of us.
But this does get to a point because this gives the Bruise Brothers a reason to come out and beat up Mr. Hughes so that he cannot fight Terry Funk as he was supposed to.
And they give him the most dangerous looking pile driver I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was pretty sickening.
Oh my God.
Oh, I must have hit fast forward during that. I don't even remember that.
Well, that pile driver was fucking sick looking. It was so bad. They almost dropped him like twice.
It was one of those deals like they had no business doing it, you know?
He was like spread eagle and they just dropped him on his fucking black head.
Well, we've talked that nausea about. We've talked at great lengths about how great the fucking Bruise Brothers are in ECW.
Mm-hmm. But after having beat up Mr. Hughes, Terry Funk was supposed to face Mr. Hughes at this event. So obviously Terry Funk is waiting for his opponent who is not going to come out. And Paulie Dangerously and Todd Gordon wind up in the ring with Terry. And we find out that our match is going to be Sabu versus Terry Funk. So this was a nice, pleasant surprise to end this show. And any discussion on the match that you guys want to have, feel free if you have notes on it.
I don't know. Usually I write down the bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have a whole lot on this.
Yeah, there isn't a lot. I mean, there's same here.
That was an instant clap.
Mm-hmm. And Terry's at his best, Sabu's at his best. They're both crazy. I mean, Terry even goes to the point of crazy where there's that one point in the match where he's just trying to throw Bob Ortiz in the ring. That's Terry. He's Terry doing Terry. And him and Sabu have a really, really, really good TV match here.
Yeah, 45 minutes of it. Good Lord. That's why I was telling Jess. I showed her the little bit of notes that I had, and I said, how are we going to get an hour out of a match that won 45 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be fucking next to impossible.
Right. Unless you chronicle every move.
Yeah. What are we going to do? Alternate commentary on top of it?
Would you guys see him beat up that photographer?
Yeah, dude, I know who that is. I can't. I was trying to think of their name when he was doing it because was that the Japanese guy?
I don't think it was a Japanese guy. Looked like a white dude to me, but it looked like he had no idea to just like give up and just let Terry put him wherever you want to put him. Yeah, he was like, if Butter Muscles was a person, it would be that fucking photographer. Because that dude was just flopping around, and Terry was like, get out of the goddamn way, and he didn't move.
Oh, you're making it harder and harder for me to pick the ham bone. Yeah. If you're telling me that a photographer on an ECW show has Butter Muscles, he could easily be the ham bone.
But it started out like Terry was kind of fucking with him a little bit, just kind of joking around. But the more the guy didn't fucking move, I could see Terry was getting fucking mad at him. Started actually manhandling him.
He would do that shit here in Baltimore, and we have one of the strictest state athletic commissions in the whole entire country. I mean, literally, it's a money racketing business they run here, because you have to have licenses, which ain't that big of a deal,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you spend $20 a year for all the guys you have that are on your roster, to work for you. But then they wanted they had to have insurance. Promoters had to provide insurance, and that was not cheap. They just.
Well, and don't they? And I don't know if it's like that in Maryland, but don't they send a commission person to your event, but then make you pay that person?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a racket! Like, we're gonna send this guy. Well, I don't want him. Yeah, he's got to be there, and you got to pay him too. It's bullshit.
We used to have this guy, this old man. His name was Lou. He was in his 90s, and he was one of the higher ups of the State Athletic Commission. And one of his loves was he loved doing the pro wrestling shows. Mm-hmm. And me and him, he would always yell at me for something stupid, because in Maryland you can't go outside the ring, you can't use chairs, you can't use tape, you can't use anything. Mm-hmm. And I would get back into the locker room and he'd be like, Chad, I told you this a million times. And he would yell at me, and then we end up becoming friends. That when I had a restaurant, I just invited him up one time, and we were closed on Mondays. And then the next time that I saw him, he was like, me and my wife drove all the way from Pikesville, which is like 45 minutes away, like to your restaurant, and you weren't open. And I'm thinking, like, a 90-year-old Lou drove all this way to come see me, and they weren't open. But we ended up becoming great friends, me and Lou. And when he passed, man, it was kind of like it was like one of the boys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
because you saw him all the time. And he had the cool thing is he had that bullshit ass old school printout of all the workers' names with their real names and their birth dates and all next to it. So I would sit not in Gorilla, but it would be where the commission would be. And I would just sit there and talk to Lou, and I'd pick up this big goddamn printout paper, and I would just start reading off all these guys' names and everything. And like I remember I went to a WWF show in the 90s, and he was yelling at Sean, but he kept calling him Mike.
Because that was his name.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't have the sheet yet, so I didn't know what his name was. And I'm thinking, like, no wonder he's not responding to you, Lou. You're calling him Mike. But he loved me, man. I mean, yeah, he was a great guy, dude.
It was fun to watch Terry in this match. The first time he tries to get that obliterated table into the ring, he's like, he just can't get it under the ropes. The end of this match between Terry and Sabu, we have the masked handlers. There's 3 of them. The first one, Terry unmasks, and it's the Rockin' Rebel. So he's still.
Is that who it was?
Yeah, it's the Rockin' Rebel.
Oh, good Lord.
And then
I didn't even catch that.
And I'm glad we got the big reveal at the end with who the third guy was, because the second one was probably one of the most, what do you want to say, Aaron? The most unfulfilling reveals ever. They take his mask off, and then Joey's like, "Oh, that's Sabu's #1 handler." Like he would have already been there, you know.
It was just some big dude.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, that's a good spot if you look at it in hindsight.
It was RJ.
What's that?
It's like, oh, we took the mask off. It's RJ Reynolds or whatever his name was.
RJ Reynolds.
I thought it was RJ Jones. Oh, no, that's Orange Juice Jones.
That's SD.
He saw you and him walking in the rain. Well, boy, at this point, I'm throwing my hands in the air, and I'm looking at Jess, and I'm just going, I don't know if I can do this.
The third handler,
the Bobby. Yeah, that was unbelievable, because when the first mask came off, whatever, and then the second mask came off, and it was that unknown guy, like that was kind of genius.
Yes,
because
that's what I was.
You're setting the people up for a disappointment, and then you're fulfilling it with a great, delivery.
Yeah, the crowd's like, oh, who's it gonna be? Sal fucking Balomo? And then the mask is taken off, and it's beautiful Bobby Eaton after he leg drops Terry Funk to give Sabu the victory, and the crowd goes banana.
Dude, I'm so pissed that I wasn't there. I was working the show in Maryland. It was a bought show, so it was a guaranteed payday, because the school bought the show. And when I heard about that, I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that that I didn't go." You know what I mean? That I had to miss out on that.
As much as Philly loves the Midnights and
the Horsemen.
Yeah. And they just, like I said, huge crowd pop. I feel bad for you that you didn't get to be there, because that would have been a cool moment. That would have been a cool moment to be live in person for. And you know what?
Yeah.
They really did. They did a great job. They did a great job with the big sweatsuit and stuff that he was wearing to even hide his body type and everything. It did not, you wouldn't, until he took the hood off. You really couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah, it was a good job. I mean, that place was ready to erupt, and I've heard it from multiple people that at the time, the Bobby Eaton pop was the biggest pop they've ever heard in the arena. And then right after that, people have told me that was right up until Arn Anderson came out.
Right. It's kind of like
lost their fucking mind when Arn Anderson came out.
It was kind of like putting a hat on a hat.
yeah. Well, you know, it's in modern times you describe it. It's like Adam Cole comes out and then Bryan Danielson comes out.
Yeah,
You know, the same kind of deal.
It's that piggyback pop that Chad was talking about the other week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's not going to get any better than Bobby Eaton. Holy shit! It's Arn Anderson.
It's Arn Anderson.
What is going on?
And I bet you the people were still staring back at the curtain.
What's next?
Right, now
yeah.
they're gonna bring out Sweet Daddy Siki.
You're like they're like Warren G. Like I looked at the brother, said, "Damn, what's next?" Yeah.
They're gonna bring out Archie Mitchell.
The Boogie Woogie Man.
The Boogie Woogie Man. Mercy, Daddy.
Oh, good Lord! Could you imagine if
they hit the Manhattan transfer in the fucking ECW arena?
He starts boogie oogieing around the ring, like trying to slap the hands of Murderer's Row out there. Like, oh, good night. Like if they throw stuffed animals at Sal Palomo, what would they do to the Boogie Woogie Man?
Well, overall, guys, the general impression of this episode of ECW, Chad, what did you think overall? If you're going to grade it,
stunk
until the end.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, no. Actually, this is actually a way better show than I apologize for saying that it stunk. It just wasn't great, but it served its purpose. It got the people over that they were been trying to get over. It totally promoted the next show coming up, you know.
Yes.
And Paul just had to find like 8 minutes to put in between it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what I was going to say. Like, yeah, I forgot when I started watching it that this was the show that the Bobby Eaton Arn Anderson deal happened. So I wasn't expecting Funk and Sabu, and I wasn't expecting all of that at the end. So before we got to that point, I was thinking the same thing as you. I was like, man, this is a stinker. It's another recap episode, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And then they fired it up at the end, and at the end, I was pleasantly surprised with the show. Aaron?
It's kind of the same opinion. Like I forgot that, like you said, I forgot this was the setup for the When Worlds Collide that we're gonna roll into. The minute the third masked dude got in the ring and I watched like hit his punch and step. It's like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's Bobby fucking Eaton. You know what I mean? Like the minute the dude got in the ring, I remembered that's right. Bobby Eaton because he like you said he hit the leg drop. Like he didn't even hit a leg drop, and that I thought was cool. He didn't hit a leg drop to end the match. He hit a fucking elbow off the top rope.
Okay, and that's actually what I have written. That's actually what I have written down is elbow.
I honestly think that shows how much of a professional Bobby is, because Bobby was probably in his mind thinking, if I get up on the top rope and I hit a leg drop off the top rope before I take the fucking mask off, everybody's gonna know I'm about fucking Bobby Eaton.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because nobody hits a leg drop better than fucking Bobby Eaton. So I respected that even more because, like, looking back on it, he was like, I'd spoil it if I hit the Alabama Jam off the top rope because everybody would know, oh, it's Bobby. But he hit that fucking so he hit the elbow instead and got the mask pop. So that was really smart. I don't know, like it might have been Paulie telling him to do that, but honestly, I think it's probably Bobby just saying, I'm not gonna do that. And like you guys said, like fucking Arn Anderson coming out, those people were just like, holy shit, Bobby Eaton. Nothing's gonna get better than that. And it's like, holy shit, Arn Anderson. Like this show is out of all the shows we've watched, this is the best ending of an ECW show we've seen, in my opinion.
Well, thus far. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Executioners unmasking. That was kind of, is that what they're called? The Executioners?
The Destroyers.
The
Super, no, the Super Destroyers. I'm sorry, not giving them enough credit there.
Super Ds.
Super Destroyers.
You know what? I would go as far as to call them the Ultra Destroyers. But them unmasking, yeah, that could have been a high point of this whole entire thing so far. But yeah, I mean, all in all, some of the stuff was good. A lot of it, like we've already said, has been recapped. You know, it seems like that's where we're going here. You know, because didn't I text you, Aaron, or there was that Nate earlier? Where I was like, do they run anything new?
Yeah,
like any new content? Like, are you all out of Pat Tanaka matches or something?
Please God, say it's true.
But I'm actually really looking forward to getting to this World Collide pay-per-view, because this is something that, like, the first thing I remember, like, reading in like magazines and shit about ECW is,
That's
probably
the only show that I don't have. It's as far as I know, it's one of the hardest shows to get.
Well, it's on the network.
Well, it's on the network in a different form. It doesn't have all the matches.
Right.
It was cut down to what, an hour?
It's I looked today. I think it's an hour 45.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. When you with the
and you're also not gonna have the original music. We're gonna have to listen to a lot of the fun WWE ECW music.
What's his name? Rick Boogs.
Get your Shazam. Get your Shazam ready, Aaron.
It's on there. I'll make it happen.
But just to let the listeners know, when we have decided that when we get to the big shows, like say, i.e. When Worlds Collide, we're actually going to record the podcast live on Facebook, so we can kind of interact with you and talk about the shows, and that should be fun. Or a train wreck, either way. That's why I love this show.
Well, if either one of you guys get a chance and you can check it out, see if it's possible to get that show, because I don't know why I don't have it.
Okay, yeah, I can look into it and see.
Like the only thing that I can think of is because it was during the time when they were going through the thing with the video people, and then like they were like changing all the rights.
I was gonna say, I remember you mentioned that about the Valley Forge show. That's why that's not out there in the ether.
It didn't. You guys might not know, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't Paulie get Arn and Bobby because he was like in some kind of lawsuit with WCW?
You are correct, sir. Yep. That's exactly what he got.
I think it came from like I don't know what.
Go ahead.
He froze.
Yeah, that was actually named in the lawsuit.
That's, Arn Anderson and Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton as payment.
Yeah. Like how crazy is that?
It is crazy. It's like the two members of the former Dangerous Alliance are now literally currency in a lawsuit.
And it was for what? I don't know, 2 dates?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
This show and the When Worlds Collide deal, I think, is the only time they're ever actually on ECW.
Yeah. And like that's what Paul got. I mean, I think he got like $100,000 too, but something like that. But I mean, that's legitimately nothing,
right?
Right?
Right.
Because I mean, I'm sure that his parents probably represented him, so that didn't cost him anything in legal. But yeah,
Right.
he got nothing in paydays, but he just is like, well, can I get dates on, some guys that I want? And it just so happened. It just so happened that it wasn't Firebreaker Chip. I mean, he was booked in North Georgia.
I was going to say, thank God. I don't know if we could have RJ Reynolds and Firebreaker Chip on the same show. It might have killed ECW before it got off the ground.
Jesus.
Well, Mr. Austin, any parting words for our listeners this week?
Not so much. I'm about to go in and look at my wife who's passed out on the sofa drunk, and I'm going to watch AEW.
All right. Well, you enjoy that. And I want to, again, always tell our listeners to follow Chad on Twitter at Chad Austin Demera. Check out Chad's Video Vault on Facebook. And, of course, join our Facebook group.
Big update coming.
The Extreme.
Big update coming, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, I just went through and just recataloged about 300 or 400 more tapes that I'm going to start uploading tomorrow.
Awesome.
And what do I charge? What do I charge? $2 a tape?
I think like $2 a tape. Yeah. Not too shabby, folks. No, not at all.
Where do you see the quality?
Aaron's back with us. He can say his goodbyes now. I think he's back with us. No, he's bailed out. Aaron's still frozen. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us this week on Reliving the Extreme. We will see you next time around, and stay tuned on this episode for maybe some Before the Bell content that the guys were busting my balls about earlier on. Stay tuned for that, and we will see you next week as we continue Reliving the Extreme, everybody.